Welcome back to the channel. This video is dedicated to our nieces and nephews. This is how your aunt and I make our vegetable beef soup. We start with a big stock pot and a pound to a pound and a half to even 2 pounds of ground beef in the stock pot. We're not going to drain the beef off. The fat and or grease, whatever that comes along with cooking ground beef, is going to be mixed in with the soup and give it more flavor. And I'll be adding red beans, chili beans, black beans, chickpeas, and 2 cans of Veg-All. The brands do not matter. The amount of extra variety does not matter. What I mean by that is, you don't like red beans, you don't like black beans, you don't like chickpeas, you don't have to add them. Those are just extra pieces that I like to put into the soup to make more of a soup. So what you want to do is, when the pie is ready and the items are ready, you want to brown the beef up, but you want to chop it up into, I like to chop it up into very small pieces. I love this tool. I don't know what it's called, but it's the best tool I've found to use for chopping up ground beef when you're wanting to do it like this. And it works with beef, it works with turkey and chicken, as long as it's in the ground, the ground stage where you just mix it around like this. At this stage, while it's browning, you want to put some spices in. Co-worker friend of mine from work gave me her own secret blend of spices. Can't read what it says on there, but it's her own secret blend. So I dump enough in there. Oops, probably too much that time. So I dump enough in there to make the seasoning. Yeah, I can smell it now. It's got some oregano in it. Once you know that the meat is good and brown, there's no more red to it. And again, it's personal preference, because while the soup is cooking, you bring it to a boil. The meat will cook, but I like to have all the meat. I don't like to see where I've actually browned the meat and there's no more red showing. And at this point, you take out your handy dandy can opener and you start opening your cans. This is what I'm using. I do have an automatic job where you can put batteries in it, push the button, and you'll hear it. It'll start cutting, but the batteries are low, so I'm going. Batteries are low, so I'm going with the standard can opener. Now, I've done one of 2 ways. This is going to be soup. The beans and chickpeas and vegetables and the Veg-All are in their own juices. You can choose to dump out the juices in the drain, or put the juices in the pot and cook it. I don't think there's anything wrong with the juices, because they're already in their juices, right? So just go ahead and dump it all in there right off the bat. We are probably going to be adding more liquid. Don't forget to stir because you don't want it to burn the bottom. I have it at medium-high heat. It's not on completely high heat. I guess if you're looking at your stove and it's, you look at it like it's a clock, I have the heat turned at 3 o'clock. Ideally, you want to get the cans open already so you're not wasting time and possibly burning, but you never do things ideally, do you? Plan ahead. I've done this so many times that I've worked out that it takes about 13 turns on the Veg-All cans and about 10 turns on the smaller cans. Once you get the cans ready, go ahead and pour it in. Set the cans aside. There's an important step with the cans that we're going to be doing. Make sure all the food is out of the cans at the end. Now your aunt typically doesn't put black beans in things. In this soup, I like to have all kinds of flavors in my soup. You don't have to have these extra beans, but to me they just bring extra flavor and extra protein and vitamins. So I tend to put everything in the kitchen sink in my soup. Oopsie. That lid came right off and went right on in there. Chickpeas. Chickpeas are good. They're high in carbs, but they're good. They're good for you. And the chili beans. Don't necessarily have to have the chili beans, but I'm going to bring an extra zing. It also helps. You don't have to put so many spices in because now you know there's going to be chili spices in there. Okay, all the cans are done. All the cans are empty. I'm going to give it another stir. Mix this all up. Mix these flavors together. We're also going to, at this point, check to see what our level of water is, or our level of water. We want to make sure this is going to be soup and not just mush. So I want to put probably another can of Veg-All soup or Veg-All liquid in. So I take the Veg-All can that's already empty. Take the lid off just so it's not in your way. Fill it up with tap water. If you don't like tap water, then get a bottle of water. Okay, it's roughly full with water. And we're going to put this in there again. Alright, now that's starting to look like soup. Okay. This is how I like it. This is how I want it. It has the soup consistency so that when you dip it into your bowl or your mug, sometimes I like to eat soup in a mug. Especially on cold days like today. It's 30 degrees outside, so it's been nice to have a nice warm mug in my hand while I'm eating my meal and watching TV and enjoying family time. But you're able now to get this into a spoon along with the liquids, so it becomes more of a soup and not just a bunch of different ingredients mashed in together. At this point, we want to let it rest. Bring it to a boil, a fast rolling boil. When that's done, we want to take it down to a simmer and cover it for at least 20 to 30 minutes. Once it gets to a boil, it's done, it's ready to go. But I want to simmer it to have the flavors to continue to meld together and just do their magic. So I can hear it boiling now, but I want to wait and see it boiling. While it's doing this process, you don't want to leave it and let it go. You want to actually stir it at least every 3 to 5 minutes until you see that good boil. Once the boil happens again, turn it down to simmer and set your timer and let it sit for about 20 to 30 minutes. And in this time you can take to find the proper lid to go on top of your container, because you don't plan ahead. You don't plan for something like this. You just cook. So now you got to find your lid. Let's see how lucky I was. Oh, first time I found it. Stirring it again, so we don't want the items to burn on the bottom, because your aunt does not like burnt food. While we are waiting, I take a knife and I take the wrappers off of the cans. Because as you know, your uncle is into recycling. And you get a can like this. This is pure steel. But if you get enough of them, it's worth a lot of money. Well, not a lot of money, but it's worth money if you get 50 pounds. It takes a lot of these cans, though, to make 50 pounds. These cans don't weigh much at all when they're empty. I put them through the dishwasher, get them all good and clean. So when I send them to the recycler, it's clean, prepared steel. You know you're not going to have a cooking video without having a recycling video. And see right there on the can, it says recycle. It's all about taking care of the earth. You bought the can to make the soup. You put it in your recycling bin that you're paying the recycling company to recycle for you. So you're paying this recycling company to do your recycling. They're going to take your can and they're going to separate it out from the rest of the recycling bits, and they're going to take that can to the recycling company and get money for that recycling. So not only are you paying the recycling company to haul off your recycling, but now you're paying the company to make money off of your can. If you have room in your home or garage or whatever, then it's my advice that you try to store it up. Find your local recycler. You can call them up, ask them how much it is for how much they will give you for a pound of steel. Now sometimes they won't tell you how much they'll give you for a pound of steel. Sometimes they'll end up telling you that it's $8 for CWT. And CWT is, WT stands for weight, and the C is whatever the Greek word is for 100 pound. It's 100. I don't know what it is, but CWT stands for 100 pounds. So $8, 100 pounds turns into, I think my math is right, and we all know I don't do math very well, but it's 8 cents a pound. So yeah, $8, 100 pounds. So 8 divided by 100 or 100 divided by 8, whatever it is 8 cents a pound. Which is typically what the steel around here goes for, is 8 cents a pound. If you can get it for 10 cents a pound, that's even better. But I know that the people out in California, they only get steel for a penny a pound, which frankly is highway robbery, but that's California for you. So if you're lucky enough to get it for 8 cents a pound, sometimes here where I live, it's been down to 7 cents a pound. But that didn't take very much time. They're not clean. I have to put them through the dishwasher, but I took all the wrappers off. The lids and everything are steel, but if you've been watching my channel long, and you know, you always test with a magnet, because some items that come in cans, like Vienna sausage, comes in aluminum. It's not steel, it's aluminum. So you want to get your aluminum prices. Aluminum in my area is 55 cents a pound. So if you're eating Vienna sausage and you like Vienna sausage, then you would definitely not put that in with your steel. That goes in a different location. Now, based on this shape and size, does anyone know what this is? What product came in this can? I have already taken the label off. If you don't know, I will tell you. It's a can of Spam. Spam is good. You don't want to know how it's made, but Spam is good. And I think it's the main meat of Hawaii or something to that nature. Your aunt would know more about that. But so that came out of that was a can of Spam, and this is pure aluminum. Wash it out, clean it up, and it'll go in with your aluminum for 55 cents a pound. The same is true for your soda cans. Now in the soda cans, I don't clean out. I empty it when I drink it, and then I mush it down, because my yard doesn't matter to my yard whether it's squished or whether you leave it whole. But soda cans are also aluminum. Now I can start to see bubbles forming on the top. Steam is coming up more. I'm continuing to stir it. It's been roughly about 18 minutes now from start to finish. When it comes to a boil, all the pieces in it are cooked, and if you can't wait, you can go ahead and eat it. I'm going to let it simmer and let the flavors come together a little better. Give it some time, and then I'll serve it up in probably 20 minutes. I can see the bigger bubbles are starting to appear on the surface, breaking the surface tension of the water, so you know we're getting into a rolling boil. Down below, this is a pretty large stock pot, so down below it's coming up and getting into a rolling boil. So at this point, one more stir, and then I want to set the temperature to low, all the way down to low, to a simmer, and I'm going to let it finish boiling as the eye reduces in power, reduces in heat. I'm not going to take it off the eye and then wait and then go back when it's on simmer mode. That's pointless. But I'm going to just let it simmer on its own for about another 20 to 30 minutes, and then it's soup's on. It's time to eat. So reducing it down to a simmer and putting the lid on. And then you basically set it and forget it and you walk away. So I hope you've enjoyed it. This is how I make our vegetable beef soup, and I showed you and taught you a little bit about how to recycle and take care of the earth.